Let's rehydrate some papier mâché starter blanks. Welcome, my name is Rozani. I'll start with this flat disc and then go on with this dome-shaped cabochon. Now what I want to show you is that this is in dried papier mâché form, which will need to be rehydrated, as I'll show you here. And I need to test it. So here I'm going to show you that all you'll need is to dampen it with a little bit of water, and I will be using a little skewer to pierce the surface. Now this is a thin piece, and it comes out through the other end. But you see, all it needed was a little water to soften it. Now these have all been made using liquid starch, so there is no glue, which makes it easy to rehydrate. Now let's move on to this cabochon shape right here. You see the dome on it? Well, that means that it's going to be thicker. And I'm going to do the same thing with it. I'm going to dampen it with some water, little by little, and then test it as I go. Now this is a fairly small size, but they can be created in any size and shape that you prefer. And in this instance, I'm taking advantage of the thickness to start this cute little fairy face. And I begin to experiment, adding a little bit of water at a time until it becomes soft enough to do some sculpting. And I'm going to test it, of course, in between applications of water with this little skewer. Let's see what happens. Now, if you want to use this method and don't have a skewer, you can use whatever tool is the most handy for you. But here I'm just going to press just enough to see if it will make an indentation. And it is working ever so slightly. But I think I want to go a little bit deeper. So I'm going to add a little more water, and then I'll test it again. So let's continue and see where we take it from here. I'm going to do a horizontal indentation now. This is where I'm going to line up the eye placement for this little face. Oh yeah, this is much softer now. I think I'll be able to insert the skewer quite nicely. Now I could still dampen it some more, just a little at a time. And I'm going to place 2 little holes. Now I'm not going to go all the way through, I just want to make indentations, just to get the placement of where I want the eyes to be. I'd like to say, if this is your first time here, welcome, welcome. And I want to thank my regular viewers. Now, some of you are artists and sculptors, of course, and I really appreciate you so much. Others love to just watch because it is a soothing process. There may be some of you who want to learn exactly how to use my techniques, and this may be your very first time experiencing the art of papier mâché. But I welcome you, and I'm glad you're here to watch the process. So make sure you let me know if you have any questions. Now here I'm making a few indentations, just continuing to press in and get these initial shapes without having added on any more pulp. You can see I'm working on the little nose there, so it's very roughly sculpted. And it's enough to get you started, which is why I call them starter blanks. And if you're interested, I do offer several types of starter shapes for projects. Here I'm continuing until I get a likeness of a face. Okay, let's move right along. Now, you can always go back and improve the features after you know where they're going to be placed. And you can certainly add on with more papier mâché pulp using whatever you have on hand. I would test it first, but more than likely you can use your paper clay or your flour and water method. But here I used the liquid starch with paper pulp made from leftover scrap paper. And I'm going to add this on top of the little shape because I want to make the features stand out. So I'm going to just add a little bit of bulk here and there, starting with the little cheeks, and then I'll continue. I always keep liquid starch handy, and that's what this is. And I'm going to be dabbing it on here and there as I apply the additional papier mâché texture to it. You can make these and keep them handy for all kinds of projects. I appreciate you being here with me through this little experiment. Whether you're watching just to relax and be entertained, or as an artist to learn something new or different. It is so nice to have you here with me as I work on these little projects, because they are so much fun. I hope this will encourage you to try something new if you haven't done this before. So let's keep going, and you can see what I've done. And it is making quite a difference, of course. You may wonder, why is it so rough? Well, this is how I like it to start with. Later on, I could decide to add paper on top of it and smooth the surface. The main thing here is to show how you can repurpose a blank form with just a little bit of water and add on if you so choose to do. And that's what I'm doing here. So what I'm showing you are some samples of what I enjoy using throughout my workshops. And one of the things that I love to do is to make little fairy faces. And I do have an ongoing workshop for that theme, along with making little fantasy flowers, because I like to put these faces in the center of those flowers, or using them for different types of art doll projects, because there's so many possibilities to explore. Like adding ears to this little face, which is still a work in progress, as I allow it to dry in between workshop segments. Meanwhile, I thank you for having been here with me and hoping you'll join me next time.